Cards for you guys today. Um, Spirit wants to let you know whatever you are concerned about, don't let it make you or break you, right? Just keep your balance, stay in your truth, and whatever's showing up to you in this 3D reality, realize and recognize that is your past, things that you have been manifesting, right? So, don't ever get discouraged. Just don't, if you get news that you're not really particularly fond of, just kind of weigh it out, right? Put it through those scales of justice and as a learning experience, right? So I got a couple of verses for you today from the Bible that stood out to me. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. That's Galatians 5:22 through 23. And a man who wanders from the way of understanding will rest in the assembly of the dead. Proverbs 21:16. And this just reminds us that we need to stay in the fruit of the Spirit, right? We need to stay out of fear and anxiety. We need to stay out of those stress modes, right? We need to stay out of the thought process that we are not enough, or that we won't be provided for, right? Or that those right people won't show up for us, right? We need to believe in the positive aspects, and take those good things, those things of love and abundance, joy, focus on the things, in which you do have and which you appreciate, right? Bring everything to gratitude and thankfulness, right? No matter what. So for a lot of you, you've had a really challenging life, up until now. There's a broken base, and that's been a lot of hardships and misfortunes, right? You've had to overcome a lot of things. So you're really strong in your spirit. We also got the cross. It's like a sacrifice or down for the cause. So we also have to remember that, we are souls having a human experience rather than humans having a soul experience, right? So, and this cross is all about the sacrifice. Each and every one of us came down onto this earth in order to, experience this human flesh and bone, right? We came here for the human experience, all in spirit level. They cannot, they, kind of admire us as humans because we can have all the emotions and, all the craziness down here, and they're kind of missing out because they don't feel all of that, right? They're so highly attuned, to their spirituality or dimension wherever they are at, that what we experience as humans is really rather low vibrational. So it's not staying in that place and space of love and higher truths rather than fear and all of those lower energies, right? So a lot of times you felt like giving up, but spirit has your back. The more that we can lean in and trust the universe, God, that it has our back and that it's always working for us. The more that we can lean into that, the easier life will be for us. The more that we can surrender to flow, right? So we have this knight, and he's confident. You're finally, realizing that you are that knight, right? You are your knight and shining armor, right? And you have, surpassed all of the feelings of guilt and shame and everything, and you are really rather fearless now. And you have always pushed through and come out on top and been braver and better for it, right? So maybe you have been led into a life where you had to depend upon yourself more in life than you could on others, right? Not everyone has that safe and secure family dynamic,